Hi Guideposts, I'm Tian. I'm here with the amazing Trent Shelton, here to talk about faith and prayer. How were you able to implement faith when you knew you had to build yourself up, but everything looked downhill?
I learned having a gardener's mindset. That's what I feel like what faith is. And I learned this from my grandfather. I would go to Arkansas and he would plant like plants and stuff like that, or he would plant crops. I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. And we'll go out there, we'll plant it. And 2 hours later, I'll be like, hey, Grandpa, like, where's the crop at? Like, it hasn't grown. He's like, Trent, just be patient. And I would bug him like every other hour. He said, when you have faith, you have to know something is taking place, even when you can't see it. And so I always keep that in my mind. I know if I do the right things, I know if I, eat the right foods, I know if I exercise, I know if I feed my mind, body, and my soul, that eventually that harvest will take place. I knew, and I have to know, growth is taking place even when I can't see it.
In your book, you talk about Jeremiah 29 and 11.
When I made it to NFL, my mom gave me this book. It's like a football cover. And it said NFL, and it had newfound life. And she wrote on the cover, Jeremiah 29:11. When I was going through that hard time, I opened that book and I read the scripture, and I realized God has a plan for me, right? Not to fail me, to prosper me. I might not understand it. I might not get it. It might be hard. I might have to go through places I don't understand just to bring me to the place where he needs me to be. But I trust on that. And what's funny is that the NFL, the newfound life, wasn't the NFL. It was rehab time for me. So I don't know. It was just super surreal.
That's awesome. So you go from not for long to newfound life.
There you go.
Through the word of God.
Yep.
I love it. Prayer has to be really prominent in the life of someone like yourself with all that you've been through.
The real of prayer for me is like a conversation with God. But growing up, I always thought that it had to be a set time. It had to be a certain prayer. And I felt like my prayers were like programmed. I feel like I was saying the same things, which nothing wrong with that. But I say, you know what? I want to be real with God. Like, I want to have a real conversation. Like, God knows me anyway. And so my best prayer life is when I'm out in nature. I feel like nature is like God's natural medicine for the soul. I always wonder why Jesus will go up to the mountains. When I go to the mountains and hike, I just love it. I just feel so connected to God. And it's not the only time I pray, obviously, but when I'm going through something hard, tough, or I'm going through stress, I will go out in these trails, and I always say nothing exists outside these trails, no worries, no doubts. And I just feel that peace that surpasses all understanding. That's what I call protecting my peace, and I do it very often.
Was there a specific time where you can recall prayer really helping you in a specific moment?
So just with speaking, like, as we know, speaking is the number one fear. Like, people would rather die than speak, right? I always say they'll rather like be in the casket than give a eulogy. When I'm always backstage, I think about this. I'm being selfish if I'm thinking about being perfect, because there's no way you can serve, right, by being selfish. And so when I'm back there, I always say, God, help me not focus on me being perfect. Help me not focus on how I look. Help me focus on giving your message to the world. And my thing is, God, use me. Like, sometimes it's just like that. God, just use me in the way you want to use me. Whatever that looks like, I'm open to it. I'm going to follow you. And he uses me in the way he wants to.
What is the most important thing you would say for someone to remember while they're praying?
Believe. Like, believe when you pray. I know for a lot of my life, I prayed these victorious prayers, but I don't know if I believed it. When you truly show God that you trust him and saying, like, I believe in you. I don't care how impossible. I don't care how much rejection. I don't care how many setbacks I've had in my life, how many people walked out of my life and told me no. I believe that you got me. And I feel like that activates the power of God in your life. I'm going to believe what I pray in, and I'm going to walk it out, those order steps, until, that harvest comes into my life.
You talk about belief being an important component of praying.
Yeah.
How do you encourage someone who's prayed a prayer, but it seems that the prayers have gone unanswered?
I don't really believe in unanswered prayers. I believe the prayers are unanswered because in your way, but maybe God's answering another prayer. And a lot of times, say it might be, God, I'm praying for this job. But one prayer that pretty much we all pray is prayer for protection. So God, maybe he answered your prayer for protection. Maybe that job was going to cause you to be stressed out. Maybe, whatever it may be. So the prayer for protection has always been answered. So know if God doesn't answer your prayers in your way, he has something bigger and better for you.